Yes, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Suzette Speaks Show live. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. Yo, Dorian, catch me. It has been a wet Thursday here in South Florida. Lots of rain. Started last night. I was out shopping. I will be hosting a barbecue. Yes, your girl is putting together a family barbecue for her people. And I hope you are looking forward to the very long weekend. Trust and believe. July 4th weekend is upon us. We are here to celebrate life, celebrate hopefully freedom, independence, the ways in which we can enjoy being free. I really am grateful for this country and all the opportunities that have been bestowed upon me here. And of course, we are celebrating the United States' birthday. If you didn't know, that's what July 4th is, the United States' birthday. And I will be lucky enough to host the July 4th Independence Family Day at the city of Miramar. For those of you guys, first of all, who are new here, welcome. My name is Suzette Speaks. I'm a host here at Voice of the Caribbean Radio. I'm an attorney by day, a radio talk show host, and political activist by night. I really enjoy giving people my perspective on life in general, but more specifically, like today, talking about the news, and we are going to talk Diddy, the Diddy verdict. Everybody's talking about it. The case came to a conclusion yesterday. The jury was dismissed. Sean Diddy Combs, if you have been under a rock, then you don't know what I'm talking about, but everybody else does understand how important this Diddy case has been in terms of I think, social media kind of community that has built around, where the principles of this society now stand. But of course, when it comes to pop culture, when it comes to hip hop, you know that this man, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs, has had a remarkable influence over the last, I would say, 30 years in terms of his career and how he has helped to shape music, help shape the music industry. But we are looking now at a case that has concluded with the trial of Sean Diddy Combs being acquitted of the most serious charges for which he was charged. Mr. Diddy Combs, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs was charged with racketeering, a RICO statute, meaning forming a criminal enterprise in order to procure, in this case, sex workers and coercing people to do things that they did not want to do in a criminal enterprise, using multiple people to carry out his not only sexual proclivities and desires. I'm trying to be very G-rated here. We're in a midday show. You get what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. The people who follow the case know that Diddy had, a lot of he was into a lot of things, right? And there are people who are looking at Diddy and saying there was never a case. People overcharged him. The federal prosecutors in the state of New York overcharged him to begin with. That there was not enough evidence to convict him of the RICO charge of a criminal enterprise. There was never enough evidence of that. Was he a bad guy? The prosecution always said that. Yes, he was a bad guy. Yes, he had, a domestic violence in his past and he had beat women, etc. But was he guilty of the crimes that were charged was the question. And it looks like the jury, and based on the outcome, the jury did not believe that he was running a criminal enterprise. And the only charges that he was found guilty of were the two lesser charges of transportation of people across state lines for the purposes of prostitution. So we've seen the outcome. There has been a lot of outcry on social media. Some women are saying this means women have never been believed. Women will never be believed. And this also is a setback. I was watching, what was I watching? I was watching Piers Morgan, a gentleman who, used to be on CNN, has his own show on YouTube now called Uncensored with Piers Morgan. And I was taking him in, and some of his guests were very interesting. And he had a segment with a former mob boss of John Gotti's talking about the RICO part of the case. And then he also had Young Jock, the Atlanta-based rapper, hip-hop artist who also was on the Diddy's record label, just talking about their perspective on it and what they saw in terms of the case and whether this, in fact, was a miscarriage of justice, or like some are saying, that it is completely fair. This is the outcome that should have been because it was very difficult to prove and based on the evidence that existed, right? People saw the tape with Diddy beating up his girlfriend and thought of it as, something that was horrendous, something that was horrific, something that should have been punished, right? However, The jury didn't see it that way because that's not what he was charged with. He wasn't charged with domestic violence. So those are two different crimes, right? What we saw on the tape in that hotel room, the fateful tape that has gone viral, where Mr. Sean Diddy Combs is seen chasing down Cassie Ventura, and that being the main evidence that the prosecution was leaning into to say that this man was guilty of trafficking people, guilty of a criminal enterprise. Well, it wasn't enough for the jury to convict him of those RICO racketeering charges. So we see Mr. Combs now facing sentencing. The judge now looks like he will be setting a sentencing date in October. He said he would entertain the defense motion, that's Mr. Combs' attorney's motion, to move up the sentencing. There were people that thought that he would be released, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs might be released yesterday after the outcome of the trial. Why? Because looking at the charges that were, he was convicted of, that stuck is really what I wanted to say. The charges that stuck, the ones that the jury agreed that there was enough evidence presented to match the required conditions of that crime occurring. Some believed that he would walk free yesterday, but the judge opted not to have him free on bond while awaiting sentencing. But we do see a lot of people who are not celebrities with this type of crime charged at the federal level. They do walk free in between when they are convicted of this, the Mann Act, right? Prostitution across state lines, or traveling or sending for people. There were evidence of, plane tickets. There was evidence of plane tickets and transportation across state lines for the purposes of, sexual acts has a lesser offense, has a lesser penalty under our system. And that's what he was convicted of. So if you have an opinion of the Sean Diddy Combs outcome, again, I was not following it. Shout out to everybody watching online. Shout out to everybody watching on the app. If you're new here, again, I come on every Thursday and Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. And you can listen all the time by downloading the app, Voice of the Caribbean app. You can watch me on the YouTube. Big up everybody who see me on the YouTube side. I got on a head wrap today, y'all. It's one of those Thursdays, right? It's a rainy Thursday in South Florida. Getting the hair done, yes. Because as I was saying, I got on no makeup but lipstick. Hey, we do it. We still pretty. Put ourselves together. Listen, sometimes you just got to make it to the office. Yeah, you understand. I have the day off today. I have the day off tomorrow. Thanks be to God. But I'll be working as well, because where will you be on July 4th? How will you be celebrating the nation's independence? Well, I will be a host in the city of Miramar. I'll be hosting their July 4th celebration. It is free. It will have vendors. It will have food trucks, fireworks show, fun presentations, dance teams. I just was looking at the runner show. They sent it over to me. Dance team, hip hop dance teams. They're gonna, what else they're gonna have? They're gonna have live band music, like a dance party going on. We want to celebrate life and celebrate the nation's independence. So I will be there. Suzette Speaks hosting on the main stage at Miramar. It would actually be on the East Field. I thought it would be under the amphitheater, but it'll be on the East Field. And again, July 4th, what happened on the 4th of July, 1776? Well, the Continental Congress officially adopted the United States Declaration of Independence, declaring the 13 American colonies free from British rule. That's where it all started, this great American experiment. July 4th, 1776. This act marked the colonies' formal declaration and assertion of their right to self-government. We were never going to be a part of the British colonies again, the British Empire again. This was the official date, July 4th, of the separation of the colonies from Great Britain and the vote for independence. So sometimes, history is peculiar, because we have to celebrate this history and we have to really put it in context with what's going on in the world today. But I'm going to take the time out to celebrate. I celebrate independence for sure, freedom for sure, right? The birth of this nation for sure, and you should. There will be events happening all throughout the weekend. Trust and believe. I got a couple of tickets lined up. I'll tell you after the break where I'm going to be as well. Saturday, there's a lot of events. Sunday as well. Of course, the Voice of the Caribbean put on an amazing show with the city of Tamarack just this past weekend. And were you there at the Morgan Heritage Show? Shout out to everybody again watching online. Big up on yourself. Everybody listening in their cars getting wet. Trust and believe. The downpour came right as I left the house to get over here. So if you're experiencing wet weather, don't worry. We'll be here with you on Voice of the Caribbean. This is an old school throwback Thursday. Our DJs are the best. The best. All right, when it comes to the old school mixes. So if you like a little old time, one drop, old time skanking, old time 90s reggae, listen tonight during drive time. And of course, July 4th, we got the live DJs mixing. We will be with you all day July 4th. I'll be in for my show as well before I head over to Miramar. I think that starts at 5:30. It's free, but you got to get there early. They have a kids zone as well. And I'm looking forward to it, right? I'm looking forward to livening up the place, nicing up the stage, making people laugh and have a good time. You know me, Suzette Speaks. I host events all around. So if you do have an event, you can always lean in, listen, reach out, whatever you want, right? And I'll be happy to help you either promote. You could come here, and we also interview people from the community with businesses and with events upcoming. So if you have a few, reach out to the station. You can reach us at 850-446-0562. Now, you can also call that number 850-446-0562 to get in touch on the Diddy trial. We are going into some depth on the Diddy trial. I've been listening to it, the post-trial info. I've been listening to it since last night. I have not been following it in all disclosure. I was a little disturbed at first when I was reading some of the allegations and some of the testimony by Cassie. But it doesn't matter what I feel, because it seems as if the jury did not believe that Miss Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend and one of the plaintiffs, witnesses in this case, who also filed a civil lawsuit that was settled, some say, I think, allegedly $30 million. And Jane Doe, Mr. Diddy's other girlfriend, who was one of the main witnesses in this trial, in the criminal trial, it looks as if the way the jury ruled, the outcome, they didn't believe that they were victims. Did you believe they were victims, or were they willing participants? That's what many say. Based on the outcome of what this jury ruled, that and you know, I want to get back to that young jock. I wonder if I can play it. Let me pull it up because I don't want to misquote him. Young jock on Piers Morgan, who is a interviewer, journalist, I guess you call him, television host from CNN, who now is doing his own YouTube show called Piers Morgan. I think it's all Uncensored with Piers Morgan. One thing that young jock said in the interview yesterday that I was watching earlier today is that he wanted to question whether or not, and this is so provocative, I'm almost afraid to say it, but I'm going to play a little bit of the clip so you can hear it for yourself, whether or not Miss Ventura, and I want to be careful when I say, I'm gonna say it after the break. Let me cue up his quote, and then I'll elaborate on his quote. But he was asking about her being a co-conspirator in a racketeering enterprise. If this was a racketeering enterprise, if this was RICO, the co-conspirators, some could argue, included Miss Ventura, from setting up the calls with the paramours and the men who, you know, worked by night, let's say, in these cases. It was just very interesting, some of the points that were made in that Piers Morgan interview. I'm going to bring up a little bit of it. But if you're just tuning in, this is Suzette Speaks. I come to you live every Thursday and Friday, 1 to 2 p.m., talking about, you know, social media trends, hot topics, news you can use. If you watch me on social media and if you are hanging out, hey, Doug, I see you, Andrew, I see you, everybody online. Shout out to everybody watching on my YouTube side. Damon, Pastor Damon Blissett, I see you, sir. Thank you so much for tuning in and showing love. If you see what I posted on my Instagram, y'all can follow me on Instagram. Follow Voice of the Caribbean, of course. Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube. And you can follow me, Suzette Speaks, 1Z, 2 T's. I also have a couple big shows I'm going to be hosting. I'm so excited. We have the Louise Bennett Heritage Show coming up, and I will be one of the narrators of the Louise Bennett pantomime that's going to be coming to the Lauderhill Performing Arts Center. I cannot wait to do that, you guys. But before we get to all of that, of course, tomorrow, July 4th. You're off? Are you off? Are you making plans to hang out with your people? Are you making plans for the barbecue? Baby, I was in Sam's Club last night. Me and my cousin, my auntie cousin. She's a little bit older than me, but she's my cousin. And we went to Sam's Club, baby. We spent money because we are hosting a big family barbecue on Saturday. Just to get the family together. You know, when your family is getting older, people are aging, people are gone. It's important to spend the time together. So holidays like this, yes, we celebrate freedom, but it's also important to remain bonded, You know, blessed be the ties that bind. Y'all know that song, church people. Well, yeah, blessed be the ties that bind. We got to stay together in times like these. You need your people. So please, you know, be mindful of that. Visit your folks, invite them over. If you can't do something expensive, the hot dog and hamburger. We actually got like community collective donations. I had a cousin call me from Texas yesterday. Was like, "Yo, I got a Sam's Club. I could deliver to your doorstep. Tell me what y'all need. Send me a list." I was like, "Thank you, God. We got some loving and caring people in our family, and I'm sure you do in yours too. You know, reach out to those that you haven't seen in a while. Make plans. Spend time with the people that you love. Life is so unpredictable. What did Forrest Gump say? You never know what you're gonna get. Life is like a box of chocolates. But the other thing I've been talking about a lot is this so-called alligator Alcatraz. This so-called, they came up with a name, a catchy name. President Trump was visiting Florida about 2 days ago in the middle of the Everglades. And I've been showing you on my Instagram, if you check my Instagram stories, how it's already been flooded. The little rain we got 2 days ago, it started flooding already, and they haven't even put people in there and beds and things to have people living under tents, up to 5,000 people in the middle of the Everglades, not to mention the environmental impact. Man, let me not get too passionate. Shout out everybody watching and everybody listening. Big up on themselves. Everybody watching on the app. Yes, man. I have to take a quick pause for the cause. This is Suzette Speaks Show Live. I appreciate you. You guys know we reach a broad area of South Florida right here on Voice of the Caribbean. I was telling a lady I got my outfit yesterday ready for the Miramar July 4th. Yes, girl will be in red. Hair getting done tonight. Let's go. We live in life around here, right? We elevating in our mind, body, and spirit, taking care of ourselves, taking care of others. Yes? So we ready, baby. I'm getting the hair done tonight. Don't watch the thing. Y'all watching me on the YouTube. Don't watch the head wrap. Because we are turn up. Hey, gotta take a quick break. We'll be back with more Suzette Speaks Show right after this.
On Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
This Friday, it's Amazing Friday. Amazing music, amazing DJs, DJ Executive, DJ Mikey White,
DJ y'all.
DJ Donovan, and it's hosted by Mikey Mike from Voice of the Caribbean.
I came here looking rough today, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. No makeup, just a little lipstick to let y'all know I care. Skin clean. And I said, let me just throw on the glasses and cool. Because I got to get my hair done tonight. And I got a deep condition. I got a deep condition in my hair right this minute. And I said, am I going to wash this out? You know I was going to wear the afro. I have a cute, quite large afro right about now. And I thought about it. I said, are y'all going to get it back? Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, should I come over here with my afro? With a little part and my little... yesterday going to Sam's Club, I absolutely looked like a Black Pantherette. I had on a black shirt with Africa on front. I had on leopard tights. And I had on some knocker earrings, okay, and my fro with my shade. I say they think this is Black Panther too over here at the Sam's Club because I still had to go shopping for my family's barbecue. So I'm the main planner. I still had to go pick up all this stuff. We spent about $400. And I was like, these people must think about Black Panther because I literally was not going to leave the house with my fro. I never really wear my fro. I normally braid it up. You know how I do. I got my little braids and my little stuff. But baby, today, because it was a deep condition, I had got to the deep condition. I was watching the time. I was working. I was trying to do 10 things at once. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. So I decided, I said, you know what? Let me just throw on a little. I hope it's acceptable. We're getting ready for the weekend. So this is the in-process look. You're welcome. I didn't bring my laptop. I can't even do much. Let me see. Is anybody else in the studio with me? The studio cameras, I have 16 cameras that show it looks quite empty. And I was running a little late and I literally walked past my boss in the parking lot, like, morning or good afternoon, Mikey, and come true. But it's all good. Anyway, do you guys have plans? Let me see. The computer is asking to restart. Actually, I'm going to take a quick walk. Please don't go anywhere. I don't look like amazing, so please forgive me, but I don't see anybody else. Is anybody else in the studio? I just want to make sure I'm by myself. But it don't play, boy. It'd be a holiday and it'd be clean out here. Nobody's here. We have about 16 cameras in different places in the office. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate you. Yeah, what are y'all planning for the 4th? I don't know if I should do any, because some people, especially in the Caribbean community, I want the Caribbean American community to understand what July 4th is. We know, we gotten deeper on Juneteenth, but I think we should be celebrating the 4th just like everybody else as well. Understanding its significance, and sometimes they don't know. We as immigrants got to teach one another about the traditions and the history and why it's important to embrace as Americans. Ah, Andrew, you so funny. Listen, we out here trying to keep it together. I didn't even put on proper clothes. I literally was like, I'm gonna cancel. No, I'm gonna get there. So excuse me one second. Let me just go check Mikey. I'll make sure everything is good. Mikey, my not even look good. You guys, I'll be right back. I'm not leaving. Mikey? Alberta offers a sample consultation by phone at 954-770-0984. That's 954-770-0984. Sister Alberta promises. Nobody else is here. I am by myself, but the AC always turns up. So I go and fix it. So crazy enough, I was supposed to have an attorney calling me today. That's why I actually came, because I had you want a calendar? Yeah, you're so funny. Yeah, in my next lifetime when I look like a supermodel. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was supposed to have a lady calling in today, another fellow lady lawyer. She was supposed to do an immigration update. That's what we originally had scheduled for today, and talking about all the immigration stuff. And she told me July 3rd and all this. So I was really like, man, rain, sleet, or snow, hair wrap or not, we gotta get there. But she didn't call. So now I gotta be talking about Diddy. I mean, it's the most hot topic there is. But I'm gonna talk about, yeah. So anyway, I was expecting to talk immigration. That's why my mind was in the immigration. Wagwan, hello, Ron. Nice to see you. Listen, Juneteenth and February, I'll bring back the afro. By then, my afro is going to be long. I'm so happy with it, though. My hair is thick and full. It's curly. I have about how everybody say 4C. I think my hair is more 4B. It's a little bit softer, and it has a little bit of an S on each curl. It's not laying. It's still afro, but it has a little S ringlet. It's cute. I'm falling in love with my hair again. Let's go. And it's at a length where when I wore it to Sam's, I was like, this is actually like a style. I could wear it out. I really haven't worn my hair out in a very long time. So I was like, okay, feeling myself, but I feel like I look like a Black Panther. I went shopping when I found the dress yesterday. I had the afro. The lady had, the street I was on, it was like a, I wouldn't even call it inner city, but it was like a street where you have to buzz to get in the store. And because of the afro and my look, she didn't want it. She came, she was like, can I help you? I was like, I'm shopping. I want to look for a dress. I have an event Friday. But when she heard me talk, I think she was okay with it. But I think on my very, unique look, these shades, my afro, my Africa shirt, my leopard, I think she was like, what does lady want? Baby, I'm here to buy a dress, right? So anyway. All right, we coming back?
Oh, you must be mad, we could not do that. Foundation from birth. Yeah, man, a low culture. Say, representing for the vice of the Caribbean, Jamaica and far beyond.
It's Old School Throwback Thursdays on WZOP, WZPP Radio. 24 hours of the best Caribbean music. You're listening to WZPP.
New 96.1
FM.
Yo, it's Shaggy. It's Voice of Caribbean. 102.1 Shaggy on your dial. We can well. I'm in the know that shit, yeah.
Yes, good afternoon. It's Suzette Speaks live on your radio, holding a vibe, holding a beautiful vibe. This is the Thursday before July 4th weekend. What we say, pre-Friday. I could call it Thursday or pre-Friday, early Friday. Happy early Friday to y'all. Happy Thursday. Listen, we got a beautiful lineup for you in terms of our music, in terms of our DJs today. It is a throwback old school Thursday, what we call throwback Thursdays here, and we just have fun. We play good music, old school music that you can vibe to and get ready for the weekend. Yes, it is a beautiful, hey, it's supposed to be rainy though. I'm not gonna lie, it's supposed to be rainy. I thought it was gonna be beautiful today. I usually time my travel here a certain time. No water on the road. South Florida people don't know how to drive bad. They drive bad in the rain. So please leave yourself some time if you're going anywhere. If you're like me, I have the day off. I have the day off today and tomorrow. I'm so excited, except for my radio show. Yay. So I'll be here. I'm excited. I hopefully will have Miss Opal Lee on. I wanted to have one of my, colleagues here. If you listen to the station on the weekends, you hear Opal Lee, fabulous lady lawyer like myself. She does immigration. So I do personal injury and medical malpractice if you get in a car accident or if you have a major, hiccup in the hospital, sometimes even leading to sadly death. I help with those cases and I help people seek justice for their family, right? So if you ever have those cases, call me, Suzette Speaks. You can DM me on any social media if you have a case and I can see if I can help you, yeah? But I wanted to bring the immigration lawyer, my lady lawyer, my sister-in-law, Opal Lee on to talk about this alligator Alcatraz, to talk about what's really happening in these immigration streets. I have people that are emailing me and asking me questions, and I don't do immigration law. It's not something I know a whole lot about. I don't follow it because I am an attorney of personal injury cases. So if everybody tries to, make it seem like all attorneys know everything, we don't. We have specialties. In the United States, I can do any specialty I choose. I can switch to immigration if I wanted tomorrow. But immigration is a body of law that takes what they say practice. That's when we say practice law, is the people who look up those laws all the time, people who deal with those laws all the time, the people who deal with those clients all the time. Those are the people who are practicing, as we call it, immigration. So I want to either maybe tomorrow or next week bring on Miss Opal Lee. Again, she's a colleague and a co-host here at Voice of the Caribbean, but she does immigration day in, day out. And I want to talk to her about what's going on with people getting picked up after their hearings. They're reporting for, their normal hearings to check in with the immigration court, and some people are not being able to leave, right? They're being arrested on the spot. That is a true statement. Not everybody, but we got to figure out what's going on and how people can be prepared, because people want to follow the law and people want to go to their hearings when assigned, but then that possibility that they don't come home is scaring a lot of people, right? We have been seeing the raids on TV. We've heard Mr. Trump has an executive order, reversing temporary protective status for Haitian Americans, Venezuelan Americans, as well as Cuban Americans, among others. And we need to know what's really happening right now. So it is a scary topic for many. We don't want you to be afraid. We want you to be informed, right? We want you to call your lawyers from before you go to your immigration appointments. Have a lawyer lined up. Have your people have the lawyer number and know who to call. If you get caught up or if they arrest you, you have to have your people's information. They have to have your lawyer's information and have your information lined up so you are informed, right? And if you need representation, you can seek it. And again, one of the ladies who works here as a host, as well as me, and attorney and host, we want to make sure you have proper representation if you so need it. So Opal Lee, pick up yourself. I know it's a holiday weekend, and I'm going to try to bring her on, especially when it comes to our Haitian American brothers and sisters. I want us to get clarity, because I heard yesterday a judge ruled, or remember, the Supreme Court just ruled that federal judges at the district level, the lowest level, cannot make broad injunctions for the whole entire country. That's the way it's always been. That's how it's been for how much 100 years. But the Supreme Court just reversed that when President Trump sued them to reverse birthright citizenship. The Supreme Court didn't rule on the birthright citizenship. They chose to address a narrow issue about judges and injunctions, right? Stays, orders to stop somebody for right now from doing it because they don't know that it's legal and it should go in through the Supreme Court. But we're going to put an injunction together. They can no longer do that. So I was reading that they have put another stop to TPS, or you understand? So TPS was stopped by Trump, but then the court is trying to reverse it, in other words. But I don't know how far that carries, and I want to bring on my colleague and friend Opal Lee soon to do that. So we're going to be working on that. Of course, July 4th is a huge holiday here in South Florida. Lots of events, lots of parties, lots of community events. As I stated, I will be hosting Suzette Speaks. We'll be hosting, yay, in the city of Miramar for their wonderful July 4th celebration and fireworks show from 5:30. I think the fireworks may be like at 9. So if you want to come, bring the family. It is free. You do have to RSVP. Of course, they have a kids zone. They have lots of food trucks, lots of vendors. They're going to have dance competitions. I'm going to do a little competitions that I make up on the fly to give away prizes just to make people have a good time and full joy themselves. So I will be in the building at the Miramar. I think it's the East Field. It's close to the amphitheater, but it's not under the amphitheater. Just note that, right? So I'll be there tomorrow, working, hosting, having a ball, doing what I love, right? So I'm excited about that. So again, July 4th is a big weekend here. It's when the United States adopted the Declaration of Independence that marks the formal declaration from the 13 American colonies at the time that they were going to separate from British rule. It's a day of celebrating American nationhood and freedom, right? Happy birthday, America. So that's what we'll be celebrating tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of symbols of patriotism, etc. How will you be celebrating? And of course, the big news of the day, I see online, I see you, I have a, thank you, Andrew. You were talking about Mamdani. I did a show last week when he won the primary. That is the candidate, Zoran, I think is how you say it, Mamdani, for the New York City mayoral race. It's the first time a Muslim American who happens to be an immigrant has won the Democratic nomination for mayor. And it's after his opponents who were more supported, lots more money and supported by the establishment, they lost, right? And he's a new face. He's just 33 years old. He has a very interesting history. And people are wondering, is this a wake-up call for Republicans and Democrats? And as far as what do people want? He is proudly calls himself a democratic socialist, right? He says it should be free subway. Socialism meaning free or spread across the resources to more people. And I can get into more of his policy, but one of them, free bus, free early childhood care. I know he wants to make the subways free as well and increase by how to pay for it, increase taxes on the very rich. So he has a very different approach. And I don't know what this will mean. Will he win? We don't know who the Republicans are going to put forward as their candidate, but he has kind of lit a spark. At the same time, I was watching earlier the marathon speech that is going on right now in Washington, D.C. If you have not watched the news about the big bad bill, the big BS bill, the big, I don't know what else I can call it. Some people are calling it a beautiful. That's what the president has called it. So it's been reported as beautiful. But once you see what it does, I don't know if everybody's going to agree that it's a beautiful bill. There are people that are saying that it's a bailout for the rich, that it's going to cut Medicare for everyday people. How many millions of people are going to lose their Medicaid coverage, right? And yes, there are parts of it that say the spending, or it's called omnibus bill, is going to remove taxes on tips and overtime. So that's one big thing that they are promoting. But what else is it taking away, and who is it giving the tax breaks to? And you have Democrats screaming from the hilltops, it's giving the tax breaks to the very richest people, the most well-to-do, the most well-off in our society, and taking away the Obamacare expansion of Medicaid, where many more people with kids, with other disabilities were able to get affordable health care for the first time ever. The millions of people will be wiped off the Medicaid roll. You're going to lose also food assistance, aka food stamps. A lot of people who got expansion in different states to help working people, because a lot of people say, oh, well, able-bodied working people should not get things. Well, a lot of times, even though they're able-bodied and working, they can't still afford the cost of living. Imagine having kids and trying to do all of what you have to do. I do it for myself. I don't have any kids. And I'd be wondering, how do people do it if they have 2, 3, 4 kids? It's a lot of pressure, economically speaking. And there will be some major cuts that will impact a lot of Americans. We have to keep our eyes open. So right now, the minority leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, out of New York, congressman from New York, has been more than, 6 hours? Giving a speech in order to what they call filibuster, slow down the vote on this so-called big bad bill. That's what some people are calling it. And there are Republicans. Thank you for pointing that out online, Doug. There are Republicans that are even against it. There are folks that call themselves the Freedom Caucus that say it's too much spending and you're cutting off Medicaid for people that need it. State-sponsored health care for people that need it. And I don't know how many of them read the entire bill. But you have to read between the lines. What's being said is not always what's in there. I'm sorry. There are people that are deceiving the American people about what is being cut and what will be taken away and who's really going to benefit. So shout out to everybody watching online. This is Suzette Speaks, giving you some historical perspective, some pop culture, some headline news. The big bill is being voted on right now. You can still, right now, call your congressperson. It's your right. It's your vote. I was talking to my cousin yesterday, as I was saying, I was in Sam's Club with the baby afro. Hey, the hair is growing. And I got on the hair wrap today. Everybody watching me online, I got on the hair wrap today because the hair is about to get done because we're going to be outside. Let's go. Tomorrow, we'll be outside enjoying our lives. And we will be outside for me in the city of Miramar. Then I'll be hitting a couple of day parties on Saturday evening. Let's go. We're going to be outside, man. And I got to get right. So this is the process. Y'all looking at the process right now. Do not, hate the process. Let's go. The lipstick's still popping. What's up? We still do what we got to do. Anyway, so as I was looking up the different news stories, of course, the top story right now is the Sean Diddy Combs. I took a little break. Shout out to everybody watching on. I see the New Yorkers in the chat going crazy. But if you want to give me your opinion on what happened yesterday, the biggest news of the day, you can call me on the Sean Diddy Combs, 850-446-0562, 850-446-0562. What happened? And what do you need to know about the trial? Basically, Sean Diddy Combs, somebody said the prosecution fumbled. I wouldn't say that as an attorney. Some people saying he was basically overcharged. He was charged with too many crimes that they couldn't prove he committed. That's when they say overcharged, was what they meant. But according to NBC News, Sean Diddy Combs was acquitted of racketeering and sex trafficking charges yesterday and found guilty on 2 lesser charges of transportation of former girlfriends for the purpose of prostitution. The verdict is seen as a victory for Combs, who was cleared of the most serious charges. His defense team opted not to call any witnesses. Listen, it's the burden when it comes to the criminal law. The standard that the jury has to meet is that beyond a reasonable doubt standard. It's a very high standard. And the prosecution laid out its witnesses, laid out its case. Some people argue they went for too long. They put on a case for 6 weeks. The prosecution put on a case for 6 weeks. Called witness after witness, including Miss Cassie Ventura, including Jane Doe, the other girlfriend who played a pivotal role in describing what she said was a non-consensual, abusive relationship with Mr. Combs, being coerced, according to their testimony, to do things they did not want to do under duress. But based on the outcome, it looks like the jury did not believe the weight of their testimony of Cassie Ventura and of Jane Doe, the other girlfriend. So he was not convicted of a criminal enterprise, meaning many people being paid in order to further a crime. It wasn't a RICO. It wasn't racketeering. According to the jury, they did not find him guilty of that. They did not find him guilty of the main charges that basically would have put him in jail for life. Now, Mr. Combs is facing up to 20 years. If the sentences run concurrent for the charges that he's been charged with, it would be more like 10. But many people say he's almost been in jail almost a year. I think he went in, September of last year. So he will likely, or more than likely, will get credit for time served. Some people think that he might even get as little as 2 years. We're going to wait and see. We don't know what the judge will do. The judge could do any number of things. The judge did not grant Mr. Combs bail, right? So the judge denied bail, and Combs will remain detained in jail until his sentencing, which will be set for this fall, right? Where he did not call any witnesses. What does that mean? That means the defense team looked at the case and heard the case and the witnesses that the prosecution brought forward and said, you know what? It's up to the prosecution. They have the burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the elements of the crimes have been met by the evidence that they have. So after they listen to each testimony, all the text messages, because there is a lot being made about the text messages that came from the ladies that said, hey, baby, yes, we're going to do XYZ tonight. Yes, we're going to have fun, quote unquote, after dark. Let's just put it like that. Tonight, can't wait. Of course we are. That it didn't seem as if it was under duress. Now, the prosecution tried to put on a domestic violence expert witness that talks about how it takes many times for women to leave abusers. They do not leave right away. Oftentimes they have to go along and get along so that they are not facing more violence or threats of violence. So they will act as if, okay, I have to do this or I might get hurt. This is a real thing. So there are people that are saying, no, with this jury, happen to be 8 men and 4 women on this jury. Do you think that had an impact? Because guess what? No matter what anybody says, you're going to be tried by 12 fellow Americans that all have different walks of life, that all have different life experiences. So I was wondering, because they first came out, the jury came out earlier this week saying there was one juror that was uncooperative. That was a holdout. What do we do, Your Honor? Yeah, both the prosecution's legal team and Sean Diddy Combs' defense team said, keep going. Tell them that they must abide by the law, that they can only consider the evidence that has been presented to them. They must weigh the credibility of not I say victims, but alleged victims or the witnesses. And they must do their best to determine an outcome the very next day. Now, I do agree. I had a conversation with another cousin of mine that you see this July 4th holiday. I think that had a lot to do with it. Now, the judge could have said, we are going to have a recess and come back next week. Some people believe that they pressured, not that the judge pressured, but in the jury room speculating right now. You know, people look at the weekends and the holidays and they do say, hey, we got to get out of here. I'm not saying I know that, but I know human nature. And maybe the time frame did have a little bit of a incentive to come up with a outcome, although their main job, again, focuses on the law and the application of the law to the evidence. So, but there is human nature, is what I'm pointing out. There's a human nature part of this, right? Everybody comes to the table with their own experiences, right? So the defense didn't call any witnesses. They said, prosecutor, you didn't make your burden. Beyond a reasonable doubt, is it beyond a reasonable doubt that this man was a part of a criminal enterprise, racketeering? No, we're not calling one single witness. Now, you know, Mr. Combs is a violent man. They basically admitted that in the opening statement. He's a bad man. He's a violent man. He has weird sexual proclivities, but that does not mean he ran a criminal enterprise for this purpose. That he was a wife beater or a girlfriend beater. He is violent towards women. That is not what is being tried. Domestic violence was not a charge. Racketeering was. Running a criminal enterprise was. And how to apply that to these facts, the jury just couldn't find that there was a criminal enterprise. Prosecutors said they will seek 4 to 5 years for a prison sentence. Combs has vociferously denied the allegations. Oh, y'all might, this, I don't know. We'll see how the the sentencing goes. The final days of this. Did you guys watch when the family left the courthouse? I did watch his mom, Miss Janice, exit. I think I was watching CNN at the time. Shout out to Laura Coach. She was running to the courthouse. There's a verdict. My daddy called me. There's a verdict. Everybody texting the text groups. There's a verdict. Is this generation's OJ trial? I don't know. There's a verdict. In terms of the cultural significance, how many people watch it, how many people are paying attention, and what it means for society, that for all intents and purposes, for the main charges, he was found not guilty. You can be a terrible person. You could be a domestic abuser. You could be a violent man, violent towards women, kick people down in the hallway, video horrific, but that's not what he was charged with. They're basically saying, I see you online, Andrew says, Cassie, this is one of my viewers, Andrew from New York, says, Cassie willfully participated and wanted to expand the scope of their relationship and wanted to be a part of the twins' life. She was very, very aggressive and participated in the use of, I think that would be illegal drugs. I could play the Young Jock interview. Thank you for reminding me. I get so deep in the conversation, Rowan. But Young Jock was like, I wonder if Cassie, in his words, paraphrasing, watched the Pierce Morgan interview. It just was yesterday. The title of the video, I think it's called "The Case Was Weak." My homeboy sent it to me this morning, and I watched the whole thing, and I was like, wow, there's some interesting points. But Young Jock asked, once Cassie decides to testify, she becomes immune, or she received immunity for her testimony in order to get Diddy. But Young Jock had a very interesting point of view, asking, not that it was his opinion, he was presenting the question. Had she not been a witness and had she not said Diddy coerced her, would she in fact have allegedly been a part of what the prosecution was calling a RICO? Could she be criminally liable if she didn't get immunity? It was a good question. I'm almost out of time, actually, Ron. I'm going to have to continue this conversation tomorrow on the Diddy trial. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you follow me on YouTube, Suzette Speaks. Suzette, 1Z, 2 T's. You can also follow Voice of the Caribbean. Make sure you lock us in on your app store. Download the app. We're an app. And, of course, for Lauderdale, you can listen live, 92.7, Wagwan, North Miami, Hollywood area, 96.1 FM. Of course, all over Miami, 94.3 FM. When I bought my dress for the event yesterday, the lady was like, yo, are you on the radio? I'm like, yeah, I'm on the radio. Voice of the Caribbean. She's like, oh, I've never heard of that. I was like, lock it in, miss. At the time, I was like, here goes the dials. But she was very excited, and I was telling her about the event tomorrow. So once again, I hope you guys have an amazing 4th. I will be back live tomorrow, so don't worry. I know you'll miss me, but I miss you too. But in the evening, I'll be hosting the City of Miramar's grand July 4th celebration family fun day at the amphitheater just outside on the East Field. We'll have lots of games, lots of prizes, dance party, live band, performers, vendors, of course, a kiddie zone for the toddlers, bring your chairs, all of that. It'll be fun. And the fireworks show, huge fireworks show. Miramar, the first time I went to their fireworks show, I was like, oh yeah, they got a couple of dollars over here. So I'm excited to be invited to host it, bring some fun vibes to the place, and that'll be tomorrow night. Where are you going to watch a lot of cities around there? North Miami, what's up? A lot of folks are going to be outdoors enjoying themselves. Be safe, guys. Don't let the kids light too much of the fireworks. You know how it goes, because there's always something every year. But I appreciate you listening. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I'll be back live, and then I'll be headed to my event. More love to each and every one of you. Keep it locked right here. It's an old school throwback Thursday. Lisa B's up next, and I appreciate you. We'll be back with more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. Take care, y'all.
Fort Lauderdale. This is Mikey Mike from the Voice of the Caribbean. For over the last 30 years, personal injury lawyer Samuel Tingsky has been helping the Florida class with personal injury, workers' compensation, medical malpractice,